right, everyone. Hello and welcome back to the college graduate who should have been a college dropout. Happy anniversary, Kanye. I'm your host, Chris Platte, here on behalf of Imperial Media. Today, we got an awesome show previewing 2021. 2021, it started off crazy with storming the Capitol, Trump's second impeachment, Joe Biden's inauguration, Robin Hood with GameStop. All this stuff has future memes at an all-time high. Shout out my Hoodville family. Look, 2021 hasn't been all bad though. Logic has unretired. I swear to you guys, I promise we're only 2 episodes deep, but I promise you I'm gonna get through an episode without mentioning Logic's name. Now, thanks to Black culture and hip hop, the app Clubhouse is now estimated at a value of $1 billion. Shout out to everybody that's made that platform so dope. I feel like Royce da 5'9" should get at least 100 mil if they sell off Clubhouse at $1 billion, because Royce's rooms are lit. Now, I hope that Clubhouse continues to do the right thing and continues to promote and uplift the community that brought its platform up in value. Now, unfortunately, hip hop has had a big loss. Edward Fletcher, also known as Duke Booty of the Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five, the legend, the New York icon, has passed away at the age of 69 due to heart failure. Now, Duke was incredibly important in the role that he played in creating one of hip-hop's most iconic records, The Message, which really took what was a genre that started as fun party music and took it to a level of poetic, introspective storytelling that really kind of highlighted the experiences that African Americans deal with in this country. So your impact on the genre and the culture are forever solidified and important. I want to thank you for that. All right, here to join me as a first guest on the Chris Platte Show is my man, one half of Atlanta's hottest hip hop podcast, the OnDeckTV Podcast, my man Spike Lou. Spike, how are you?
Brother Chris, I'm doing great, man. How are you?
Man, I'm doing good. You know, just working on some things, listening to music, doing everything I normally do.
I like it, man. I'm honored to be your first guest. I want you to know that 100%.
Yeah, man. Of course, I couldn't have anybody else as my first guest. So, jumping into this, we're talking about the mega stars, the Kendrick, the Cole, the Drake. Now, all three of them, the big three, they have not released music in 2020 like we all anticipated they would, but that was before a global pandemic. And now with the vaccine distribution being murky and unsure, it's seeming like most people are going to be vaccinated by the end of the summer, which means that that's probably after festival season, and I can't see festivals happening before that. I mean, how likely is this, Spike, that as much as these artists are quote unquote overdue for a new album, that we could actually see them sit out even potentially another year?
You know, I don't think sitting out is an option. I don't think that this year artists are going to have the luxury of next year, like they did this previous year, of, hey, what's going on? How am I going to react to this? The people that we're speaking of, like you said, the titans of the industry, the big guys, the Kendrick Lamars, the J. Coles, the Drakes, it's time that they're going to have to put the ingenuity, the money behind new ideas. If it means more virtual concerts, if it means more mass media, whatever it means that can replace being out on tour and connecting with fans where you're not able to make quote unquote outside music. That has to be spearheaded by these guys that we see in the big, like you said, at the top, the Drakes, the Kendrick Lamars, the J. Coles, the Big Sean's, like Kanye West. At one point in time when we were doing concerts, he made it a point to put a lot into the spectacle of being outside and coming to a concert. That same energy, those same thoughts, that same innovation has to be put towards, okay, we're in a pandemic. How are we going to get and connect with our people, be it Zoom, be it whatever app or whatever you come up with, Clubhouse rooms, being private, being tipped for them, however you can figure it out. But the expectation, we didn't see Amazon take a year off. We didn't see Apple take a year off. The titans of their industries didn't take years off. So I'm expecting the big dogs, the quote unquote A-list rappers to do the same this year and make adjustments.
Yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right about adjustments being made. I came into this kind of a little bit more pessimistic because Drake is saying that he delayed Certified Lover Boy or whatever because of his torn ACL, which he wants to be a hooper so bad, man. He wants to be a hooper so bad. That's not why he postponed it. And then you got J. Cole, who wrote a whole Players Tribune like he's LeBron coming home to Cleveland talking about wanting to be in the NBA. And Kendrick starting this whole music label that's not really a music label, PG Lang. It just kind of seems like they're all making moves that aren't music moves, or at least they did in 2020. So that kind of makes me believe that maybe there's some type of adjustment that they are making, or transition that they are making. But in reality, like you said, Spike, I think you're right that you can't wait too long. You have to strike, and there's no excuse. All these clubhouses, all these Zooms, all these different options that have presented themselves during COVID, I think give artists room to actually do something that's not traditional, like touring.
Absolutely, man. Like no one else, no other industry is going to be able to take 2 years off.
Yeah.
Like, and I hate to sound callous or cold about it. I just think that people are innovative enough in the music industry, just like the other industries that are figuring it out. Like they're going to have to figure it out. Like, I don't think that you can wait. You can push back Certified Lover Boy, like you said. You can do these small media boutique companies. You can tease retirement if you're J. Cole. But at the end of the day, they're going to have to figure it out. And I can't wait to see what happens.
Right, I agree. They're definitely going to figure it out this year. Let's hope I'm wrong and you're right. All right, so for this next segment here, Spike and I are looking at COVID almost a year later. Now, Spike and I originally did a podcast in March of 2020 looking at COVID and asking the question of who will it benefit and who will it hurt? Because whenever there's a situation that forces change, there's always people that benefit and there's always people that suffer from it. So let's look at the beneficial side of it. Now, I know, Spike, you're in Atlanta. Michigan is just opening up as of February 1st, but Atlanta decided 12 months ago COVID wasn't a thing. So Atlanta didn't even close. Yeah, Atlanta didn't even close. It was open. So now getting into COVID almost a year later, what are the kind of artists that we've seen benefit in your eyes from COVID?
Hey, I think earlier last week, JT from the City Girls made an interesting statement, and she said, we make outside music. And she was spot on as far as it being outside, inside, car riding music, house music, club music. Those are things within, subgenres within hip hop. So when we talk about the artists or the people that are benefiting the most from COVID, it's the artists that you listen to alone. We're all trapped in the house. We're all sitting here just trying to get through our day-to-days. And whether you're playing a video game, whether you're in the car by yourself, or you're at home, quarantining you and just maybe one or two other people, the music that you want to hear is almost that music that puts you in your feelings, the music that's not turn up, party, lounge, vibe music. I don't really want to hear that because I'm not in those places. I'm missing those things. So to make it more singular, the type of artist like a Boldy James, Detroit as a whole, actually, like that's the type of music. Some Detroit stuff is party stuff when you got Sada Baby, maybe a 42 Doug, but you got Boldy James and you got Payroll Giovanni and Peasy. I feel like that's riding music, maybe riding by yourself right now through a quarantine. Conway, I think Conway is about to release another album. He's one of the people that make like alone music. Freddie Gibbs, hell of an artist, also makes music that you got to listen to a couple of times. You got to digest some bars. He's a hell of a rapper. So these are the people that are benefiting now. People that they don't need their music played on the radio. They don't need their music played in the club. People whose music you can sit with. You can take it and play a game of Madden if that's what you do. Play a game of 2K if that's what you do. Take a ride around the city if you just need to get out of the house and it's just not a song or a vibe that you're looking for, but more so just trying to take some music in. Those are the people or the artists that are benefiting now from COVID.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. It's the personal artists. I love that you shouted out Detroit. And I love that you also mentioned, 2K here, because I know you've been avoiding that 2K smoke since I joined your league last year. But yeah, see, there you go. Don't lie to the camera. Now, listen, you're absolutely right. It's the personal artist. It's the non-commercial artist. I think you hit the nail on the head there, where It's the people like Freddie Gibbs, who I also had written down, Griselda, Conway, all of those artists, Ransom, like artists that are make music that's not for going outside, for doing outdoor activities. Now you, Spike, you could be participating in outdoor activities because you're in Atlanta, but right. Right, but for the most part, for the rest of the world, pretty much, we're all still quarantined. We're all still taking it smooth, and so you're right. You're gonna listen to the stuff like the Drakes, or the deep cut Drakes, or the Kendricks, or the, whatever type of stuff that you listen to when you're by yourself in your own free time, and that's really who's benefited the most from this from this pandemic in my eyes.
I agree with you. I agree with you 100%. I'm surprised, and one of I think guests that I made when we first talked about this was a Kendrick Lamar. This is a perfect time for him, though. I mean, he can take a year, 2 years off like he usually does, but it seems like for the impactful type of music that he makes, and the type of effort that he puts into the music, this would have been a perfect time for someone to sit with his albums, because his albums are more complex. Like, damn, you listen to it forward, it gives you one meaning. You listen to it backwards, it gives you another meaning. You got Good Kid, Mad City, obviously, To Pimp a Butterfly. Like, all of those are deep cut records that you can sit with, listen to several times. So I do, though I understand Kendrick not dropping, I think he really missed an opportunity to elevate himself even more in that A-list lane.
Well, the only counter to that I would say is that COVID and this pandemic in 2020/2021 is not leaving our mind ever soon. Like, anytime soon, it's not leaving. So whenever Kendrick comes out, whether it's after all this is behind us, he's just gonna take us right back to there. It's still gonna be fresh in our memories. But I agree with what you're saying. His complexity, his artistry, and the albums that he kind of gives you that time to sit with and think about. Because I like Damn more than I like it in 2017. And so that just shows that he makes those albums that you sit with and you grow with. And so an artist like him could definitely benefit, even though he is one of the quote unquote bigger acts and he's always touring. All right, now our last segment of the day here, we are looking at the most anticipated albums of 2021. No cheat code, Spike, no Drake, no Kendrick, no Cole. Let's just disregard the big three for a moment, act like they don't exist, and give me 3 artists that you're just really absolutely dying to listen to in 2021.
All 3. And reasons? You want reasons too, or just name them right now?
Reasons too. Go with that.
My first was gonna be Pusha T. It's been too long since Daytona. I'm ready for that album. I think that the anticipation, just in response to the bickering back and forth with him and Dre, I'm ready for that. I'm ready. And as always, Pusha T's pen is excellent, so I'm ready to hear that type of music. Secondly is Meek Mill. It's put up or shut up time. Like I said on the OnDeckTV podcast, like you and I have discussed and having music conversations, when I was talking about Big Sean, and I felt like this needed to be his blueprint, the Detroit 2 album, that needed to be his breakthrough album. I'm moving that to Meek now. This needs to be the certified album that puts him in the A-list of, like he says, hanging out with billionaires and being so outspoken in his takes and the things that and the places that he wants to push his career to. It's now time for the music to start matching up to that. So I'm expecting a lot from that album from Meek Mill. And lastly, it's the B guy in the camp. We couldn't go A guys. I'm still expecting a big year from TDE. I'm ready for a new J-Rock album. Grammy nominated with Redemption. I want to see how he's going to back that up. I want to see how TDE handles the controversy of, well, not controversy so much, but the pandemic. They had a schedule. They were comfortable in their schedule and how they released the album. Every artist got to take their 2 years off after they put so much thought into their album. But now you kind of got a backup. I think you're going to have guys that are like, well, I don't want to wait 2 more years just because Kendrick Lamar drops this year. Ab-Soul, J-Rock, Schoolboy, those guys are going to want to put music out as well. So I look forward to especially how J-Rock and Redemption comes out and how he exists in a world where there's a Kendrick Lamar album and possibly a Schoolboy Q album and possibly an Ab-Soul and an Isaiah Rashad and a SZA album all existing in the same universe at the same time. I look forward to how that plays out.
Yeah, J-Rock is an interesting name for sure, especially because of if it is as big of a year for TDE as everyone expects it to be. it's going to be a very interesting conversation for who gets lost in the sauce, because somebody probably will when you have that many releases in a year. So I'll actually start with for my three. I'll start with the opposite side, Dreamville. I got JID because his feature game has stepped up another level recently, and he's just really interesting guy because he's talked about in interviews. He has diss records for people he's not even beefing with, Spike. Like this man is prepared to. That's a different level of sick to write a diss record for somebody you're cool with and have no issues with. That's a different level. So I think JID's pen game is elevated, and I think he's ready to do it. And I've heard that he's locked in with no ID for this album. But again, that's just a rumor. I don't know that to be fully factual. So if he has a no ID JID album, that's going to be crazy for me. Another one I have is Boogie. Westside Boogie, man. I've really grown a fan of his music. I liked his last album. But if he can spend some time developing, which it seems like he has in this last 2 years, the ability to make that sad music that people like me love when we're listening to it alone, and also make introspective flex music. Like, I don't know if you've seen his Instagram, but dude, those snippets, man, I've been on Westside Boogie's page more than the girls I follow that have a link in their bio to their OnlyFans. I mean, he is just really stepping it up with these snippets, and I find myself listening to a 50-second snippet for 10 minutes straight. He's really found a new level, I think, and he's about to take it up one. And this last one I think is really going to surprise you, and that is Chance the Rapper. I am very excited to see what Chance the Rapper does because I'm not the biggest Chance fan, as everyone that listens to me knows, but I've never seen a hip hop. I don't know if he was a heavyweight. He certainly was kind of a heavyweight at one point with Acid Rap and Coloring Book. We've never seen somebody take like this historically big of an L. And I would love to see what Chance does coming back from that. And I don't even know if he's going to. I don't know if he's just sticking with his Hollywood activist type stuff that he's doing, or if he's just kind of making music on the side. But if he comes out with an album, I would be very anticipating that, to see just basically what is the reception of it before it comes out. Like, what's the anticipation level between people, and and essentially, if it is a good album, what does that do to him? Does he then catapult back up to superstar status, or does he kind of sit in like a middle tier, or what kind of happens with him? So I'm really interested to see, just for the particular case of Chance the Rapper, of what it is, not actually the music itself, because I'm definitely not trying to hear another album about how much he loves his wife.
I can spoiler alert for you. It's gonna be bad. It's over for Chance the Rapper.
It's over?
Yeah, it's over.
It's
and I think this is not for me just not liking his music anymore. What the controversy that he had with his manager, when his manager came out and he's like, and they've split ways. Part of the lure of Chance the Rapper, in my opinion, was his connections. Him being a brand new artist, mixtape guy, he got 2 Chainz, Lil Wayne. He got all of these people on his first album, or the first couple albums with Coloring Book. Coloring Book made it especially so. And him doing that independently, and the newness of that is kind of worn off. Like, everybody's independent now. Like, everybody has major connections now. And I think the person who was playing the biggest role in that, his agent, or his manager that's suing him now, maybe not the biggest role, but a major role, that's going to take an effect. Like, it's not the same anymore. Like, I don't see how Chance could build up a like anything for an album, especially after what he put out for his debut. Allegedly, it was the debut was so hyped up and was so big, and Chance supposed to change rap, and it just didn't happen. And now I don't think you get a second chance at that.
Who you checking for more, Logic or Chance in 2021? Neither.
Pull my ears off and mail them to you, and you tell me how that works. Neither. Logic, I thought he retired.
Listen, he unretired, man. You didn't hear?
I thought he changed his rap name. He started rapping on Twitch only.
I don't know, man. I don't know. All I know is I heard.
Listen, I can only rap on Twitch. Because I would never.
Right. All right, that will do it for our 2021 most anticipated album. Spike, I want to thank you for coming on the show, being the first guest on the Chris Platte Show here at Imperial Media. Why don't you just let everybody know the awesome work that you do at OnDeckTV Podcast, where to find that, and how to stay tuned for all the Spike Lee content that's out there.
Again, man, can't thank you enough for being the first guest on the show. Check me out on the On Deck TV podcast. Airs every Wednesday on your favorite podcast subscribing places, wherever you listen to podcasts. Check out the On Deck TV Hip Hop Podcast. I am Spike Lou on all social media, and also check out my show, the Featuring Spike Lou feeds. Subscribe to that one as well. Episodes every other week there. So just appreciate you having me on. Let me voice my opinions, man, and big success to whatever you do.
Thank you, brother. It's always the same. Much love, and I'll definitely have you on again.
Absolutely.
All right, now I started 2020 saying, quote, it's going to be a big year for music. That was definitely a lie. It was a solid year for music, but it wasn't as big as we all expected it to be due to the pandemic. So 2021, I'm not making you guys promises. I'm done promising things based off people I don't know personally. That's a wrap for today's show. As always, I'm your host, Chris Platte, brought to you here by Imperial. I want to thank you all for tuning in. Please leave your comments in the YouTube video. Let us know, what are your most anticipated music takes of 2021? What are you looking forward to most? Give me your hot takes. They're all welcome. I'll be engaging with you in the comments. Also, please like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell, follow us on the socials, all of that stuff. Thank you, everyone, and I will see you next time. Shout out Kanye West.